Hi everyone, myself Dr. P. Soumya, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In this session, I am going to discuss about the phosphorus cycle. So in this session, I am going to cover the topics: introduction to the phosphorus cycle, schematic representation of phosphorus cycle, and a global view of phosphorus cycle, and also ecosystem view of phosphorus cycle, soil-based view of phosphorus cycle, microbiological importance of phosphorus, and human impacts on phosphorus cycle. So introduction to the phosphorus cycle. The phosphorus cycle, it is the movement of phosphorus from the environment to organisms. Phosphorus is the phosphorus cycle. It is the movement of phosphorus from environment to organisms and then back to environment. So that is a phosphorus cycle. In this phosphorus cycle, movement of phosphorus, it is taking place from environment to organisms and also organisms to environment. So here the phosphorus cycle may also be referred to as the mineral cycle or sedimentary cycle. So this phosphorus cycle, this is also referred to, this is also called as mineral cycle or sedimentary cycle. So unlike the other cycles, phosphorus cannot be found in air and in the gaseous state. So like other cycles like nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide cycle, so that phosphorus cannot be found in air form in gaseous state. So the phosphorus cycle, it is the slowest cycle. Phosphorus cycle, this cannot be found in air as the gaseous state, and the phosphorus cycle, it is the slowest cycle, and the atmosphere does not play a significant role in the movement of phosphorus. The atmosphere, it does not play a significant role in the movement of phosphorus because phosphorus and phosphorus based compounds are usually solids at the typical ranges of temperatures and pressure found on earth. So atmosphere, so it does not play any significant role in the movement of phosphorus because phosphorus and phosphorus based compounds are usually solids at the typical ranges of temperature and pressure of found on earth. So on the land, phosphorus, so we know that phosphorus chemical symbol is P, so that is denoted by P. So gradually it becomes less available to plants over thousands of years. So because it is slowly lost in runoff, it's slowly lost in runoff. So on the land, the phosphorus, it is gradually become less available. So to plants over thousands of years because it is slowly lost in runoff. So low concentration of phosphorus in soil reduces plant growth. So the low concentration of phosphorus, it reduces the plant growth and it slows soil microbial growth. So it is the very essential element. The phosphorus is a very essential element for growth of plants as well as microorganisms. So the low concentration of phosphorus in soils, it reduces plant growth and slows soil microbial growth. Soil microorganisms act as both sinks and sources of available phosphorus in the biogeochemical cycle. Soil microorganisms, so they are acts as both sinks and sources of available phosphorus in the biogeochemical cycle. Locally transformation of phosphorus are chemical, biological, microbiological. So the major long-term transfers in the global cycle, so however these are driven by tectonic movements of geological time. So the humans have caused major changes to the global phosphorus cycle through shipping of phosphorus minerals and use of phosphorus fertilizer, and also shipping of food from farms to cities where it is lost as effluent, So here these humans have caused major changes to the global phosphorus cycle. So through shipping of phosphorus minerals and use of phosphorus fertilizer, and also shipping of food from farms to cities, so where it is lost as effluent. So humans have caused major changes to global phosphorus cycle. So this is a phosphorus cycle. In this, incorporation here, geological uplift moves the rock into terrestrial environments. So here, the plant sources. So if we see the rocks, so if we start with the rocks, so here the rocks by weathering the rock we can get the phosphorus. We can get the phosphorus in soil. So these are assimilated by the plant cells and these are used for growth of plant cells. So here after that these also, so these are consumed by, so like secondary sources, secondary consumers. So they like animals. So after eating these animals, so they will again it will giving back to the soil. So these are animals, again these are giving back to the soil. So and if the animal is dead, so the decomposition by the fungi and bacteria is taking place. In that process also, the phosphorus is coming back to the soil. Coming back to the soil. This is the phosphorus cycle. So here, so in this another one is, so if phosphorus in soil, it is lost in drainage. So in and also it is phosphorus is it is found in like water. So rain water or any oceans or seas. So this is phosphorus cycle. Phosphate salts that are released from rocks through weathering usually dissolve in soil water. So phosphate salts, the phosphate salts, this will released from rocks through weathering to the extraction, usually dissolved in soil water, will be absorbed by plants, That is phosphate. So animals absorb phosphates by eating plants. Animals are absorbing phosphate by eating plants or plant eating animals. So when animals and plants die, phosphates will return to soils. When animals and plants die, phosphates in that process also, these phosphates will return to the soils or oceans again during decomposition. So after that, phosphorus will end up in sediments or rock formation again. So here remaining there for millions of years. Eventually, phosphorus is released again through weathering and cycle starts over. So after that, phosphorus it will end up in sediments and rocks and formation again. So again remaining there are million years. So eventually phosphorus it is released again through weathering and also cycle starts over. So this is about phosphorus cycle. In that phosphate salts are released from rocks through weathering. So usually it is dissolved in soil water or in ocean. It is absorbed by the plants. So after that the animal absorb phosphates by eating plants or plant eating animals. So when animals and plants die, the phosphates will return to the soils. So after that, the phosphorus will end up in sediments. It will form sediments or rock. So after many years, the phosphorus again released by weathering process. So this is a phosphorus cycle. So this is a schematic representation of a phosphorus cycle. So in this, the phosphate in fossil rocks. So these are by weathering process we can get. So this weathering process we can get phosphate in ocean sediments. Phosphates in ocean sediments. So here these are uplifting over time. So again they are forming this phosphate rocks. If these phosphate rocks are used, these are used as a fertilizer, phosphates from fertilizer. So these are used inorganic phosphate stored in soils and dissolved in rivers. So after that, this is run off to the oceans. Again, it is going back to the formation of sediments in ocean. So it is forming sediments in ocean. So here, if inorganic phosphate is stored in soils and dissolved in rivers, so this will plant phosphate. So means the plants will absorb phosphate from water as well as soil. Water as well as soil. So in this process, so after that process, these are, if the plants will dead, the decomposer will decompose the plant organisms, and this will again the phosphorus coming back to, that is coming back to the soil or rivers. So if so this is a process of phosphorus cycle. So if we take organic waste, if we take animal phosphate, so if we take animal phosphate, so animal, so this will consume plants and it will get phosphate. So the phosphate animal can absorb phosphate from plant phosphate plants. So this will again, if they dead, they will decompose it by decomposers, and it is the phosphorus again coming back to soil and rivers. So if animal phosphate, it will give organic waste and remains, again it will go to the, it will form the phosphate sediments, phosphorus sediments or rocks. So this is the phosphorus cycle. In this, the rocks, the phosphate, it is weathering, it is coming weathering by weathering the rocks of phosphate, and these phosphorus it is taken by the plants, and these plants are consumed by animals. If they dead, the decomposers will decompose plants and animals, they will give the phosphorus, again it will give to the soils. So this is the phosphorus cycle. Same, this is also phosphorus cycle. So in this rocks and soil, so here, so when the rocks and soil, when rain is come, so by weathering process, the phosphorus is run off in lakes and streams, run off into lakes by using streams. So this inorganic phosphate, it will absorbed by the plants. So that is phosphate PO4 3 minus. So here, so this is used by plants, and these are forming ATPs. So if they dead, the decomposition is taking place again. They coming back to rock state, coming back to rock state. So this is the phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus cycle. The global view of the phosphorus cycle. The global view of phosphorus cycle. So the phosphorus cycle occurs when phosphorus move from land to sediments in the seas and then back to land again. The phosphorus cycle occurs when phosphorus move from land to sediments in the seas and then back to the again land again. So the main storage of phosphorus is in earth crust. So here on land, phosphorus is usually found in the form of phosphates. So the on land, the phosphorus, it is available in the form of phosphates. So by the process of weathering and erosion, phosphates enter rivers and streams that transport them to the ocean. So once the ocean, the phosphorus accumulates on continental shelves in the form of insoluble deposits. After millions of years, the crustal plates rise from the sea floor, and this will expose to the phosphates on land. This will expose to the phosphates of land. After more time, Weathering will release them from rock and cycles. Geochemical phase begins again. So in this phosphorus, the global view of phosphorus cycle is, so phosphorus cycle means, so the phosphor movement of phosphorus from land to sediments and sediments to land. So we know that the main storage of phosphorus is earth crust. So on land, phosphorus, it is usually found in the form of phosphates. So by the process of weathering or erosion phosphates, these will enter into the rivers. So and these phosphorus, this will enter into the ocean by the rivers. So after that, if the phosphates will form phosphate rocks. So after that, more time, weathering will release them from rock and cycle. Geochemical phase begins again. So this is phosphorus. This is the global view of the phosphorus cycle. In the global view of phosphorus cycle. An ecosystem view of phosphorus cycle. The ecosystem phase of the phosphorus cycle, it moves faster than sediment phase. Ecosystem phase of the phosphorus cycle, it moves faster than the sediment phase. All organisms require phosphorus for synthesizing phospholipids, NADPH, ATP, nucleic acids, and other compounds. So plants absorb phosphorus very quickly, and then herbivores get phosphorus by eating plants. So then carnivores get phosphorus by eating herbivores, and eventually both of these organisms will excrete phosphorus as a waste. Eventually the both organisms, herbivores and carnivores, so these will eventually excrete phosphorus as a waste. So this decomposition will release phosphorus into soil. Plants absorb the phosphorus from the soil and they recycle it within ecosystem. These plants absorb phosphorus from the soil and they recycle within the ecosystem. So here, so the ecosystem phase of the phosphorus cycle, it moves faster than the sediment phase. So here, all organisms require phosphorus for synthesizing phospholipids, NADPH, ATP, nucleic acids, and other compounds, other phosphorus compounds. So here in this ecosystem, so the land, the plants, so the plants first absorb the phosphorus from the land. The plants, these are absorb the phosphorus from the land, and trees are trees are get trees are consumed by the herbivores. So here these herbivores, these will consume the trees and it will get phosphate. So then the carnivores are get phosphate by consuming herbivores. So here eventually that herbivores and carnivores, this will excrete the phosphate as a waste, phosphorus as a waste. So this become, or if they did, the herbivores and carnivores, if they did, they will decompose back to the soil and they will give the phosphorus back to the soil. So again the plants, this will absorb phosphorus from the soil. So this is the cycle. This is a cycle. So which is an ecosystem view. So this is an ecosystem view of the phosphorus cycle. The soil based view of phosphorus cycle. The soil based view of phosphorus cycle. Initially phosphate withers from rocks. We know that initially this phosphate withers from the rocks. The small losses in terrestrial system caused by leaching through the action of rain are balanced in the gains from the weathering rocks. So here some losses in terrestrial system, it is caused by action of rain. So here in soil, phosphate is absorbed on clay surfaces, organic matter practices and becomes incorporated, they become immobilized. So here plants dissolve ionized forms of phosphates. Plants dissolve ionized forms of phosphate. So herbivores obtain phosphorus by eating plants. Carnivores, they can get phosphorus by eating herbivores. Herbivores and carnivores, these will excrete phosphorus as a waste product in urine and feces, and phosphorus it is released back to the soil, and when plants or animals decompose, the cycle recomposes. So it is also these decomposition also released phosphorus into the soil, and the cycle repeats again. So this is soil based view of phosphorus cycle. So in this so in this is if we take the phosphorus cycle, the soil based phosphorus cycle, soil based view of phosphorus cycle, biomass phosphate. So here biomass phosphate, it is soil organic phosphate. So here, so we will get phosphate which is whether from the rocks. So that is soil organic phosphate. So this is a soluble phosphate. So here, so this is again used by the bioma this trees, and some of this soluble phosphate, it is acts as a fixed phosphate. It is used for fixation. So this fixed phosphate again it will used as a phosphate input. So this is the soil based view of phosphorus cycle. In this phosphorus cycle, the soil is first absorbed by the clay surfaces or organic matter present in the soil. Here the phosphorus is first is absorbed by the soil or clay surfaces like soil organic phosphate. So this is immobilized. So then the plants dissolve these ionized form, that is soluble phosphate, in the form of phosphate. So these herbivores, these are used by plants, and herbivores are, so these can obtain phosphorus by eating plants, and carnivores, these can get phosphorus by eating herbivores. So after that, herbivores and as well as carnivores, this will excrete phosphorus as a waste product in urine and feces. This phosphorus again released back to the soil. So this is soil based view of phosphorus cycle. So form of existence in nature. So phosphorus form of existence in nature. So unlike other cycle, there is no volatile phosphorus. We know that. So unlike other cycles, so there is no gaseous phosphorus. There is no volatile phosphorus containing product to return phosphorus into atmosphere. To return phosphorus to the atmosphere in the way of carbon dioxide, nitrogen gas, sulfur dioxide are returned. So therefore, phosphorus tends to accumulate in the seas. Therefore, the phosphorus tends to accumulate in the seas. So it can be retrieved by mining and above ground sediments of ancient seas, mostly as deposits of calcium phosphates. These are mostly as deposits of calcium phosphate. Seabirds also mine phosphorus from the sea by eating phosphorus containing fish. So seabirds, these are also mine phosphorus from the sea by eating phosphorus containing fish and depositing it into it as guano. So there's a broad bird droppings. So here certain small islands inhabited by such birds have long been mined for, for these deposits as a source of phosphorus for fertilizer. So microbiological importance of phosphorus. What is the microbiological importance of phosphorus? Phosphorus it is a micronutrient. It is necessary to all the living cells. It is macronutrient. The phosphorus is, it is macronutrient. It is necessary to all the living cells. It is an important component of adenosine triphosphate. It is an important component of adenosine triphosphate, nucleic acids like DNA and RNA, and phospholipids, which is in cell membranes. It may be stored in intracellular volatile granules as polyphosphates in both prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So here it is a limiting nutrient for algal growth in lakes. It is limiting nutrient for algal growth in lakes. Average concentration of total phosphorus. So in wastewater, it is in the range of 10 to 20 milligram per liter. So here the average concentration of total phosphorus in wastewater, it is in the range of 10 to 20 milligram per liter. The major transformations of phosphorus in aquatic environments are described below. So the major transformations of phosphorus in aquatic environment, these are described below. First one is mineralization, assimilation, precipitation of phosphorus compounds, microbial solubilization of insoluble forms of phosphorus. First one is mineralization. Organic phosphorus compounds, example 5-tin inositol, phosphates, nucleic acids, phospholipids are mineralized to orthophosphate. Organic phosphorus compounds are mineralized to orthophosphate by wide range of microorganisms that include bacteria and fungi and phosphatases. Phosphatases are enzymes which are responsible for degradation of phosphorus compound. Mineralization in these phosphorus compounds, organic phosphorus compounds are converted into useful minerals. So in this, microorganisms are playing crucial role. So like bacteria, fungi and other enzymes, phosphatases. So enzymes are these are responsible for degradation of phosphorus compounds. Assimilation process. In assimilation process, the microorganisms assimilate phosphorus, which enters into the composition of several macromolecules in the cell. Some microorganisms have the ability to store phosphorus as polyphosphates in special granules. So precipitation in phosphorus compounds, precipitation of phosphorus compounds. So the solubility of orthophosphate, it is controlled by pH. The solubility of orthophosphate, it is controlled by pH of aquatic environment. So and by the presence of calcium plus 2, magnesium plus 2, Fe plus 3 and aluminum plus 3. So when the precipitation occurs, there is a formation of insoluble compounds such as hydroxyapatite, vivianite and variscite. So variscite. So like these, if when precipitation occurs, we will get insoluble compounds like hydroxyapatite, so vivianite and variscite. So like these compounds are precipitated. The phosphorus precipitation. So this is about precipitation of phosphorus compound. So the solubility of orthophosphate, it is controlled by pH and pH of the environment and by the presence of calcium plus 2, magnesium plus 2 and Fe plus 3, aluminum plus 3. If the water contain calcium plus 2, magnesium plus 2, Fe plus 3 and aluminum plus 3, this will form the insoluble compounds. This will form many insoluble compounds. So fourth one is microbial solubilization of insoluble forms of phosphorus. In third step, they are forming insoluble salts. So through their metabolic activity, microorganisms help in the solubilization of phosphorus compounds. So through their metabolic activity, in these microorganisms are solubilizing the insoluble salts. So mechanisms of solubilization are metabolic process are involving. So in this solubilization, so they are enzymes are involving. So and these are production of organic inorganic acids by microorganisms. So example succinic acid, oxalic acid, nitric acid and sulfuric acid. Production of, so the mechanism of solubilization, so these are metabolic processes, these involving enzymes and this will involving the production of organic and inorganic acids by microorganisms. So production of carbon dioxide and which lowers the pH, which will involve the production of organic and inorganic acids and production of carbon dioxide, production of H2S, so and production of chelators. So it involves, it will bring production of organic and inorganic acid, production of CO2 Production of H2S and production of chelators. Production of CO2 which lowers the pH. Production of H2S which may react with iron phosphate and liberate orthophosphate. And the production of chelator which can complex the production of chelators. So here by production of chelators, this chelator, this will make complex with calcium plus 2 iron and aluminium salts. So this is the microbial solubilization of insoluble forms of phosphorus. So phosphatic minerals. So the availability of phosphorus in ecosystem, it is restricted by the rate of release of this amount during weathering. So the release of phosphorus from apatite dissolution, it is a key control of ecosystem productivity, and the primary mineral with significant phosphorus content, that is apatite, that is calcium phosphate. Ca3PO4 3OH, it undergoes carbonation. So little of this released phosphorus, it is taken by biota, that is organic form. So whereas large proportion reacts with other soil minerals, leading to the precipitation of in unavailable forms. So the available phosphorus, it is found in biogeochemical cycle in upper soil profile. While phosphorus found at lower depth, it is primarily involved in geochemical reactions with secondary minerals. So plant growth depends, it is on the rapid root uptake of phosphorus released from dead organic matter in the biochemical cell. So phosphorus, it is limited in supply for plant growth. So phosphates move quickly through plants and animals. However, the processes that move through soil or ocean, it is very slow. Phosphates move quickly through plants and animals. However, the process that move through soil or ocean, so this process is very slow, making the phosphorus cycle overall one of the slowest biogeochemical cycle. So the process that move them through the soil, ocean, this is a very slow process. So this is making the phosphorus cycle so as a slowest biogeochemical cycle. Low molecular weight organic acids are found in soils. So they originate from the activities of various microorganisms in soils, and these may be extruded from the roots of living plants. So these are several of those organic acids of capable of forming stable organometal complexes with various metal ions found in soil solutions. These processes may lead to the release of inorganic phosphorus associated with aluminum, iron, and calcium in soil minerals. So the production and release of oxalic acid by mycorrhizal fungi explain their importance in maintaining and supplying phosphorus to plant. The availability of organic phosphorus to support microbial, plant and animal growth, it depends on the rate of their degradation to generate the free phosphate. The availability of organic phosphorus to support microbial, plant and animal growth, it is depends upon the rate of uh, degradation to generate again free phosphate. There are various enzymes such as phosphatases, nucleases, phytase. These are involved in the degradation of organic matter. So here some of the abiotic pathways in environment studied are hydrolytic reactions and photolytic reactions. So enzymatic hydrolysis of organic phosphorus, it is an essential step in the biogeochemical phosphorus cycle, including the phosphorus nutrition of plants and microorganisms, and these are transfer of organic phosphorus from soil to bodies of water. So what are the human impacts on phosphorus cycle? So like nitrogen, increased use of fertilizer increases phosphorus runoff into our waterways and contributes to eutrophication. So like nitrogen, it increased use of fertilizers. Increased use of fertilizers, it will increase phosphorus running to our waterways. Running to our waterways, which contributes eutrophication. Humans have greatly influenced by phosphorus cycle by mining phosphorus, converting it into fertilizer, and by shipping fertilizer and the products around the globe. So transporting phosphorus in food from farms to cities has made a major change in the global phosphorus cycle. The waters are enriched in phosphorus from farms runoff and the from effluent that is inadequately treated before it is discharged to water. So water are enriched with phosphorus from farms runoff and from effluents that is inadequately treated before. So it is discharged to waters. So natural eutrophication, it is the process by which lakes gradually age and become more productive and may take thousands of years to progress. Natural eutrophication, it is a process by which lakes gradually age and become more productive and may take thousands of years to progress. So cultural or anthropogenic eutrophication, however, it is water pollution caused by excessive plant nutrients. So here, water pollution, it is caused by excessive plant nutrients, which results in excessive growth of algae population, which can result in excessive growth in algae population. So natural eutrophication, it is a process of by which lakes gradually age and become more productive and may take thousands of years to progress. Thousands of years to progress. So culture or anthropogenic eutrophication, it is water pollution caused by excess plant nutrients, so which results in excessive growth of algae in population. In algae population, these are the human important phosphorus cycle. So surface and subsurface runoff and erosion from high phosphorus soils may be major contributing factors to freshwater eutrophication. These are contributing factors to freshwater eutrophication. So the process controlling soil phosphorus release to surface runoff and to subsurface flow are complex interaction between type P inputs and soil type and management, and also transport processes depending on the hydrological conditions. In areas where snow melt can cause periodical water logging, iron reducing conditions, these can be attained in 7 to 10 days. So this causes a sharp increase in phosphorus concentration in solution. So and P can be leached, phosphorus can be leached. So in addition, reduction of soil causes shift in phosphorus from resilient to more level forms, and this could be eventually increase the potential for phosphorus loss. It is eventually increase potential for phosphorus loss. So this is a particular concern for environmentally sound management of such areas where disposal of agriculture waste has already become problem. So it is suggested that the water reclaim of soils that are to be used for organic waste disposal, it is taken into account in preparation of waste management regulations. So this is about phosphorus cycle, and so this is eutrophication. This is the image. In, this is the eutrophication due to excess phosphate in water. This is the eutrophication by excess phosphate in water. So here much algae is forming, much algae. So this is about phosphorus cycle, and thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.